The prophecies of Rizal which have been fulfilled are the Philippines will remain to be a colony of Spain but will be in good terms with the captors. The Philippines will try to cut the ties of our motherland from its captors through violent means, and the Philippines will be colonized by another country. So the Philippines in the present times is currently allied to other nations, especially to the Spain, despite having the freedom and liberalism. Filipino people before violently held a revolution or a revolt against the Spaniards in order for the country to gain its freedom from the oppressive system of the Spanish regime. Not long after the death of Rizal, the Philippines were being colonized by the Americans who fought the Spaniards for the Philippines. The relevance of Rizal's work, The Philippines a Century Hence, to our country today is that it showcases how the Philippines gained its reputation today as it is now independent, equal, and allies to other countries. So it shows us how our forefathers fought for our freedom today, and it gives light to Filipinos despite of being in the dark due to the oppression from the Spaniards. It awakened the hearts and opened the minds of the Filipino people with regards to their plight, and come up with a realization that oppression by foreign colonizers must no longer be tolerated. So it is important today as it always reflects on how we acquired our identity as a free country. Rizal agreed and admitted that Filipinos were indolent during the Spanish colonization. So he believed that it is due to some several causes. So one of those is the climate in the Philippines. The country is a tropical country, so it means it's hot and the temperature is high. So Filipino people usually stop to rest after doing vigorous works. And it is also clear in the writing that Spain is the source of the indolence attributed to our race. So when Filipinos wanted to learn and study, there were no schools. And if there were, they lacked adequate resources and did not provide more useful knowledge because they were taught repetitive prayers which were not that educated to them, or which are not knowledgeable. There aren't some useful words about it. So when Filipinos wanted to start their own businesses, there was insufficient capital and government protection. And also, if at those times, Filipinos were forced to do labor. So that is one of the biggest causes of the indolence of Filipinos. They were forced to labor. They were young and not that old enough to do the labor, but they were forced to do it. So some of those Filipinos were kind of pulled into indolence. Thank you. Rizal wrote the letter to the young women of Malolos as he pays homage to 20 women of Malolos who desire to educate themselves, who fight for the right for education. In this way, Rizal sees in these women as a ray of hope in restoring the Filipino women's dignity and worth. Rizal emphasizes the importance of Filipino mothers, and it is obvious that his ultimate desire was for women to be offered the same opportunities as those received by the men in terms of education. Rizal's advices these women or Filipino mothers should teach their children love of God, country, and fellow men. Second is Filipino mothers should be glad and honored like Spartan mothers to offer their sons in defense of their country. Third is Filipino women should know how to protect their dignity and honor. Fourth is Filipino women should educate themselves aside from retaining their good racial values. Fifth is faith is not merely reciting prayers and wearing religious pictures. It is living the real Christian way with good morals and manners. These advices are very applicable to the generation today. In recent years, it appears that these characteristics are gradually fading in the way Filipino women conduct themselves. There are times when mothers forget the rules in raising their children because they are preoccupied with earning money for the family to supplement their husband's income. Although there is nothing wrong with working hard for the welfare of one's family, there must always be a balance in one's life. Failure at home cannot be compensated for by wealth or celebrity. It is also applicable, or those advices from Rizal are also applicable to the women today or to the generation today because women, Filipino women, should act according to the likeness and goodness of God. If a woman or if a Filipino woman wants to be virtuous or the right for the person to others, she must act for the goodness of all, for the goodness of herself, and for the goodness of people around her.